I'm Judith, compulsive overeater, and I've been around the program about 34 years, and my story is one of relapse, and I think now I have the golden key to not relapse again, and but it can happen at any time. It's not a matter of if it will if I don't go to it, and so I go to it now, and what I go to, for me, is I go to God. I go to this incredible source of everything, the is of everything. And that's where I come to by the time I get to step 12. And then I, for me, live in the 12 steps now. And their numbers fall off the steps because they have to be alive in my life, in my world. And for me, there is nothing to carry if I don't try to practice the principles behind each of these steps in all my affairs. And so that means I'm going to have to use these steps now to attend to all parts of my thinking, feeling, emotions, actions, reactions, relationships, interactions. I must apply those steps so I can see where I am getting powerless, where I am, seeing, am I being honest? Like, really, do I honestly think I have any power over whatever it is, the reaction I just had to someone? I have to look at the principles underneath each of the steps, which, you can, I write them down on my page 59. I have to see, like, am I running any show right now? Step 3, am I trying to be God or play God or think I am God? Like, it's really important that I see, do I have faith in food or faith in program, or do I have faith in God? Like, there's no point in trying to have faith in program if I've got no God. And I have to say that I did 25 years of program, sometimes in and really spot check how OA and spot check and check it off and check it list and check it that. And I was checking the boxes like I was the queen and the princess in my DKNY suits at the lowest weight I'd ever been, with the highest life I'd ever extremely had. And I could not manage my emotions, feelings, reactions, relationships, even success in life. And so it doesn't matter whether I'm up or down or in or out or this or that. I came to now grasp it by using the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is my primary text, to get the original solution to work. And how am I going to do that? Like, every one of these steps gave me another level of spiritual experience, to see that I never had to eat again the way I was, which I was pounding 10 to 15,000 calories of sugar, flour, and fat and salt every day. I couldn't get off of it. When I'd relapse, I went fast, not like trickle, trickle, trickle. But really, where all those relapses always started was with, I don't know if I can fit in my service, and I don't know if I've got time for my prayer meditation. I don't know if I want to have a conscious contact to God. I just want to say I know God, and that'll be enough. Belief is enough to get me through. I don't want to continually watch myself in step 10, and I don't want to keep making amends when I'm being a bit of an asshole. And you know what? I don't know if I'm really that willing. I don't even know what I'm turning over. I spent 25 years in program not exactly knowing what I was turning over. I thought it was some characteristics that I could then pretend to play God better in my life. That's not going to work either. But coming to this step, and why I think now I've had a spiritual awakening, is because I've had an experience that has completely shifted my psyche about my reliance on this power, this extraordinary oneness with an everything I didn't know existed. I made up concepts and said I believed in it, but really it was just so I could be a better version of myself. But I'm not here for self-help to become better Judith. I'm just not. I tried that. It actually gives you some grace for a while. I even had incredible success, incredible, beautiful relationship. I have a husband upstairs who's a darling, houses in different countries. I mean, I had it all, but it's not about the sweetness of like this loving experience with this incredible waking up to this feeling that something has me. Not I have it and I'm going to bring God in. I can't bring God in. How am I going to bring God in? God's already there in me. I'm having an awakening or I'm not having an awakening. And there are many moments in my day, don't get me wrong, where I opt out. Like I just opt out, like I am God. This person's really upsetting me now, so I'm God right now. This is okay. I'm human. As long as I will continue then to put my steps in play, every one of my steps brings me back to God. There is an awakening in every single step. I'm having an awakening. I work these steps every 6 months or every year, depending, but I'm in the steps all the time. But formally, I go back in and I go around. I go back in, I go around, because I can put anything in step 1 now. Anything. Things I don't want to keep doing, but I keep doing them. And for me, it's not much to do with food anymore. The food was lifted out of me. When I was done and I was ready, it was lifted from the get-go. And that's been about 7.5, nearly 8 years now. Thank God. And food, 98% of the time, does not cross my mind as a solution for any problem I have. And it's not a problem because I don't bow down to it anymore. It just is something. I love food and I love cooking my food and I love my meal plan. And I don't go anywhere without my meal plan, but I go everywhere in the world. Well, not now because of COVID, but I used to go everywhere in the world, and I'm not afraid of eating. I'm not afraid of eating anymore. I'm not afraid of food in my cupboard that doesn't belong to me. It's not my food. But I come to this step, and you can really start this step on page 18. I got 10 minutes. I don't know how I'm going to do that. But anyway, you start on page 18 where it tells you who's approaching, right? Which means I can go out there and find people who I want to sponsor, because I don't have to wait for them to ask. It's pretty tough for new people to ask me. So the man who's making the approach, this is me, the woman making the approach. I've had the same difficulty as you. I have a real answer. And this is important for me now, because I think I had a self-help answer before. And I would do one of two things. I would bring you as a sponsee to me. You better go through me, come through me, tell me, me. And you better rely on me and call me every day. That is not really useful for people. They have to go to God every day. They need to find the power that is deep inside them. And my job is to guide them to that power that has never not been there, but one might feel separated from. There's another kind of sponsoring I've done, and I've received all these sponsorings, which is I will bring you to you. I will make you do mantras, and you do lists, and you do check marks, and you got to do, and you got to do, and you got to do. But the real program is about being. Look through it. It doesn't say do this, like, because then you'll be able to do things better. It says do this so that you can get into a flow with God, so you will be one with God. Be. It's got it. Dear God, direct my attention to what you'd have me be. Remove my fear. Like, it's so I can be here. And so sponsoring cannot be about self-helping, making somebody learn how to self-help better, to be a better self. In fact, the program is very clear about my job when I'm doing the service, which I think is critical, which is helping individuals through these steps, not to understand the steps. What is the point of understanding steps? It's to really have an experience with the step, because it says having had a spiritual awakening, a spiritual experience with the steps. So let me not just get them into the knowledge of the big book or the knowledge of the literature or the knowledge of the food plan. My job is to help them have an experience so that I can help them with a real answer to their real problem. So that I need to just come here and learn and keep learning myself. So I never think I'm above or below anybody else. I don't have an attitude of holier than thou, because I'm still learning. I'm still experiencing God. And I don't have anything but a sincere desire to be as useful as I can be in this moment. It says there, and let me tell people, there's no fees to pay and there's no people to please. Please don't work with me because you feel like I'm a good sponsor. Work with me because I have a spiritual answer. Like, if somebody's got a spiritual answer, go ask them to help you. If they've got a self-help answer, run for the hills. All you're going to end up with is a lot of good knowing. I'm giving you my experience because that's what happened to me. I had sponsors who worked at World Service, and they would tell me, don't you dare do that until you call me. Like, that is not an answer, because when I was in the height of my experience with life, I was calling them and I wasn't getting relief. I was terrified of my life being that big. My roles had got huge. My life was incredible. And I was going to humans for the answers until I couldn't get the answer. And I realized it. And that's more terrifying than anything. So we're here to help work with others, because practical experience with having a spiritual experience is what I have to offer people now, thank God. And so, my God, I've got a whole tape on this thing, because it's like, wow, this goes, you could talk for 2 hours on this chapter. I found 96 different, this is my big book, 96 different instructions. There's a lot of good instruction. I'm not going to go over each individual instruction. What I think is more important for me is that the book is really clear in the first set of pages before it gets to page 89. It's like it gives you 89 plus about 10 pages of the doctors of opinion to really try to grasp how to live a principle of honesty, of faith, of perseverance, whatever step you're on, right? Of consciousness. For me, step 11 is the most beautiful words, because it says I'm here to have a conscious contact. That means I may have been living unconsciously, thinking I was in contact. Sometimes I've been in program living a spiritual thinking. I'm living in a spiritual path, walking into a spiritual death, because I think I'm doing it all. I think that's all you need to do. But I have to have a conscious contact with God. So I want to be able to help people not only grasp what the step is and how to do the specifics about a step, but actually how to carry it into their life, how to show up, looking at where delusion and dishonesty is occurring in every moment of their life. This is step 10. I want to watch and look and see. I don't have to judge, but just help people see where they're being dishonest, where I'm being dishonest. Right? I have to share with people honestly about where I'm in a delusion about who I am or what I think I can be, or even if there is a me, that's a big delusion. So it's like, I have to be sure that I'm like helping people to get out of the thinking and out of the emotions to get to God, to be like, there's a choice here to take these principles that we get because we work that step over and over. So we get better and better at bringing the principle to all of my life, all of my thoughts, all of my being, all of my oneness with God. But more so, even page 52, the bedevilments, all my relationships, all my interactions, communication, expression. So look, I could spend hours. I'm more than happy to share something else I've done on this before from the actual instructions, but they're really clear. You just read them, you'll see them. Some of them are old because when they wrote the book, they didn't have a book. When they wrote the book, they were talking about going out and finding people because they
2 minutes.
Thank you. They didn't have any meetings. So some of the instructions are old, but set aside your prejudice against historic language. And really, it's precise. It's really precise. One thing I know is this, is if I'm trying harder than a sponsee when I'm in service to them, then there's something off. It should be the highlight of my day to speak to people. If I'm getting a kind of a weird, itchy feeling, icky, like, this is like something off, I take it to God and I see if God thinks. And I've had to turn people down big time because they have mental health issues that are beyond my capacity. I don't have that capacity spiritually yet. So I just tell them I don't have that capacity. You can kill yourself if you want, but calling me on a Saturday night, it's not my job. That's just not in my capacity. So I know that sounds weird, but there's also the other side, which is the incredibleness. I have 9 people that I help right now. And it's like the joy of seeing their breakthrough. And it's not about what I said to them. It's not about what I do. You, like I tell them, like, you better not depend on how much spiritual progress I'm making. You better depend on how much spiritual progress you're making. Don't ask me to be a sponsor because I'm having an awakening this day. Like, you've got to have an awakening this day. And we got so much to help us, tools, this, that, the other, but it's God in the end. Then I'm trying to help you practice being one with, so that you can carry a message of depth and weight to help people get on a much broader highway of life, right? So for me, I don't know, I could go on, and, you know, I know there's so much in this book, but it's like, yeah, I want to get to this, wrap it up now. You know, I want to get to a place, thanks, at all times, that I can help them see these principles when they're alive in their world, when they depend on God, when that food is not where they have their faith, but in God, then they can carry a message to someone else. And that's how our program survives. Thanks, Paz.